Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection. This is going to be the first installment of the segment Old and Busted or New Hotness. Now, in this segment, what I'll usually be doing is looking over various versions of HeroClix figures. Mainly, basically, which is the superior version. We're going to start things off with, since they were handy, the Wrecking Crew. Now, first off, a little history concerning the Wrecking Crew in HeroClix. The Wrecking Crew was first represented in HeroClix in any way, shape, or form way back in the Rev era in the set Ultimates when Wrecker appeared. After that, it would be a little while before Thunderball appeared in Armor Wars, and then Bulldozer in Supernova. And then in Avengers, the first special power set, we finally got the entire Wrecking Crew as Pile Driver finally showed up. However, in that time period, half the sets that had members of the Wrecking Crew in them were no longer standard legal. So WizKids said, "Oh well, we'll just do a new we'll start over." And so the Wrecker appeared once again in Mutations and Monsters, and was probably one of the worst figures in the set. Looked great. The figure looked great. This dial was just bloated. So it took a while, and then finally, years later, in the Invisible Iron Man set, decided that the Wrecking Crew would be a sub-theme of the set, including occasional member and fellow Master of Evil, the Absorbing Man. We are going to focus, however, just on the primary four: Wrecker, Thunderball, Bulldozer, and Pile Driver. And after their appearance in Invisible Iron Man, they ended up... But yeah, the thing with the four, that's just, since we're on the topic of bringing up of Absorbing Man, we'll just be focusing on the four. Then they once again appeared all together in Invisible Iron Man back in 2017. So, let's get started. Alrighty. So, some similarities between between the two iterations. Both Invisible Iron Man and Mighty Thor had one member in each rarity level. So, now, the ones from Invisible Iron Man are designed more with a larger build in mind. For example, the lowest point version of lowest point of the four is Pile Driver, who, though he has two different starting point dials, his top starting dial is at 125 points. Let's see. Yeah. On their secondary starting clicks, they can be a 300 point team. Anyways, so, but looking at the two versions of Pile Driver. And here also is a Mighty Thor version for. There's two side by side. So, the Mighty Thor Pile Driver comes in at 75 points. Now, both figures have at least one trait. In the case of Pile Driver, or in the case of the one from Invisible Iron Man, I should say, we've got a trait, Masters of Evil. And allowing him to use the Masters of Evil team ability, but only if he started off at 125 points. And then we've got a special power on damage called Fist Slam, Pile Driver can use Quake. When he does, if he's holding an object, his damage becomes 3 and is locked instead of 2. Then remove that object from the game. Okay. Then we've also got Opening Charge, which is reflected on his Mighty Thor counterpart. But we've also got a full dial, 7 clicks of Super Strength, which is something that his counterpart for Mighty Thor does not have. Damage reduction, they both start off with invulnerability, though the older one has a higher starting value. His attack value is also higher. However, the Mighty Thor's move speed is higher, but with charge, it really doesn't matter much because they both have, they both got the, either way it would be rounded to 5. Then, as for Fist Slam, Pile Driver's got it on his first, well, again, on his for his entire dial. Now the traits on for the more recent version, we've got Live Up to the Name, which gives him improved movement, ignores hindering terrain. When he occupies a debris marker, he can't be targeted by opposing characters 5 more squares away. Very handy. Then we got Swinging for the Fences, which allows him to cause knockback, and not just that, but also knockback characters that have either charge or combat reflexes. When he knocks back a character after resolutions, he may be moved up to a number of squares equal to the highest number of squares a character was knocked back. So, quite nice. Actually, that's actually really good. Then we've got 3 clicks of charge, 2 clicks of sidestep. While on defense, we got 3 clicks of vulnerability and 2 clicks of toughness. So his defense does shoot up a little bit near the end. Pile Driver, like I see, starts off a lot of charge, then 2 clicks of plasticity at the end, a full dial of Super Strength, 2 clicks of vulnerability, and so we got 2 clicks of vulnerability, 3 clicks of toughness, and 2 clicks of willpower on defense, and then a full dial of Fist Slam. I'm kind of leaning more towards this one being superior just because the Super Strength, which does increase his potential damage output. Now, a neat thing with the Invincible Iron Man versions is each one also has on their card, a printed alternate team ability. Now, you didn't have to use it. It was optional, but the ATA for the Wrecking Crew reading, a character using this team ability can use improved movement, ignores hindering terrain. When a character using this ability uses charge, modifies attack by +1 when it costs 2 points to use. Okay, so that's Pile Driver out of the way. Now let's move on to Bulldozer. Who is, in all honesty, kind of a poor man's Juggernaut. Alright, so looks like they all... Yeah, it looks like there's one thing I will say is the same with both versions is keywords say the exact same. Alright, so they both both bulldozers have improved movement, ignores and destroys blocking terrain, which is great with both their with both the alternate team ability and the live up to the name trait. So, once again, we've got on the Invincible Iron Man one, we got the Master's Evil trait. So he can, if he's at his top dial of 145 points, he can use Master's Evil team ability. He's also got a trait called Head Down, Head First. At the end of your turn, choose the side of the square Bulldozer occupies. Lines of fire drawn to Bulldozer that pass through that side of the square are blocked until your next turn. Okay, that right there is always a good thing. It's the kind of say maybe he's got two, maybe he's double tokened, and oh well, can't well you could with the Master Evil team ability, but if you didn't want to, hey, you can basically say, yeah, oh well, everybody is facing that way. Okay, so this part of the square, this side, yeah, lines of fire pass through are blocked. So yeah, you have to get rid of these other three. So yeah, that's pretty good there. The other one has the live up to the name trait. Improved movement, ignores hindering terrain. When in debris marker, lines of fire drawn from 5 or more squares away are blocked. Anyways, we've got a special power on speed on the new one. Coming through, Pipsqueak. Charge, and when he uses it, he breaks away automatically. Now, that right there is a good thing, too. Bulldozer has no special powers. But let's see, we open up with charge. We got a full 8 clicks of charge. Then with super strength on attack, we've got 6 clicks of super strength. Then 2 of invulnerability. That has a spike on the second click. Then 4. Looks like, yeah, 4 clicks of toughness and 2 clicks of willpower. And he's got absolutely nothing on damage. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Bulldozer. Alrighty, now we're moving into the big names of the crew with Thunderball. Thunderball is actually the brains of the Wrecking Crew. Believe it or not. Yes, there actually is brains in the group. So, the old one from Invincible Iron Man once again has the Master's Evil trait. He's got a special power on attack, swinging ball and chain. This allows him to use Quake, and he also targets all opposing characters within range and line of fire. Okay, and he's got he has a range of 3. So it's yeah. Well. And then further on down, we've got a special damage power. People underestimate me. If no other character on your force can use Outwit, Thunderball can use Outwit. Okay. Alright, so we've got Circumstantial Outwit and Giant Reach. So, but with the rest of the dial, we open up with charge, 2 clicks of charge, 3 clicks of running shot, followed by 3 more clicks of charge. On attack, we open up with Quake for a couple clicks, then we got three clicks of Swinging Ball and Chain, and 2 more of Quake. Defense, we've got 2 clicks of Invulnerability, 3 clicks of Toughness, and 3 clicks of Willpower. And then we've got on damage 3 clicks of Empower, 3 clicks of People Underestimate Me, followed by two more clicks of Empower. Okay, it's not the worst. There's room for improvement. Now the new one. Now, because with the nature of the Mighty Thor versions, and the fact that Wrecker and Thunderball have legendary equipment, we will also be including the equipment. So, Mighty Thor's Thunderball. First, well, as mentioned, we have legendary wielder of the Enchanted Ball and Chain. So, the Enchanted Ball and Chain, and as mentioned earlier this past week in the building the team, it's got Quake, but it's printed damage instead of 2. Okay, all right. Next up, we have the live up to the name trait. We have a special attack power, the old Ball and Chain, giant reach of 3. Much like the Swinging Ball and Chain from the previous one. When it hits 1 or more opposing characters after resolutions, modify those characters' combat values by -1 until your next turn. Okay, that's even better. Especially when paired up with Quake. So, here we've got 3 clicks of Charge or 3 clicks of Force Blast, 4 clicks of the old Ball and Chain, a click of Invincible, 2 clicks of Impervious, a click of Invulnerability, and 2 clicks of Toughness. Then we got a click of 2 clicks of Outwit, bookending the dial with 4 clicks of Empower between them. I would say the upside. Both have their upsides. One upside that actually all of the newer ones have is they simply have the Master Legal team ability. But the Invincible and the Impervious are very definitely upsides, and the non-circumstantial Outwit, where it's just, hey, he's got Outwit, period. That's also a plus. Actually, I would probably go so far as to say that, aside from the fact that in every way except for the stats, the new Thunderball is better. But the old one does start off with an 18 defense and 4 damage. So, yeah, take that as you will. Alrighty, and finally, we move on to the Wrecker. There we are. Oops, the Wrecker and the Wrecker. I actually love that sculpt from Invincible Iron Man. That's just an amazing looking sculpt. Alright, so start off with the Invincible Iron Man version. Once again, Master Evil trait, but only if he starts at his top dial of 155 points. Then we've got, I got the power first, you know. Adjacent friendly characters with the Wrecking Crew keyword modify their attack value by +1 if not already modified by this effect. So basically, you want to keep everyone right up next to him. Next, we've got the trait Wrecking Crew at your service. At the beginning of your turn, you may destroy one wall or square of blocking terrain adjacent to any friendly character with the Wrecking Crew keyword. If you do, place a standard heavy object in the same square as a placed debris marker. Okay, that right there is... that puts him at top tier because... yeah, he can basically make heavy object tokens. And by saying any friendly character, that means including him. So yeah. Alrighty. Special power wise, we've got Enchanted Crowbar. It allows Wrecker to use super strength, and when he's not holding an object that makes a close combat attack, he modifies his damage value by +1. Oh! Ooh. Yeah, I know the meme, yeah. That's his only special power. So let's take a look at the breakdown here. And we go. Oh man. Okay. So that Enchanted Crowbar special power. When you pair that with his printing damage of 4, with exploit weakness. Oh, he's gonna be putting the hurt on people. All right. So. On speed, we got charge for 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 out of 8 clicks. Then on attack, we've got Enchanted Crowbar for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 5 clicks out of 8. And is promptly followed up with Steel Energy for 3 more clicks. It should also be noted his attack value doesn't drop below 9. Which again, 9 is not anything to write home about, but still, that's the lowest his gets, but any more than that, it kind of is normal. So next up, we've got Impervious for 2 clicks, followed by Invulnerability for 2, Toughness for 2, 3, 4 clicks. So no willpower on the Wrecker. Yeah, that's some steep competition for the new Wrecker. That is some very steep competition. So, the new Wrecker. First off, we've got the Enchanted Crowbar. Wielder of the Enchanted Crowbar. This right here. And what it grants exploit weakness. And when the character attacks, hit characters that can use Invincible or Impervious use Invulnerability instead. So yeah, if he can't use exploit weakness, oh hey, guess what? He's still knocking you down a notch or two with when it comes to damage reduction. Alrighty, so next up we got the Live Up to the Name trait as well. Also, Wrecker ignores and destroys blocking terrain. And we got a special power on damage. We're gonna wreck it, boys. That was one thing I didn't look at. That was one thing I forgot to mention with this one. Well, it's damage. 2, 3. 2 clicks of exploit weakness, followed by 3 clicks, of empower, and then 3 more of exploit weakness. Oof. Now, admittedly, the Enchanted Crowbar kind of gives Wrecker something better than exploit. Makes it so that the Wrecker doesn't have to worry about that. You do other things like empower and leadership. And when the Wrecker uses leadership and succeeds, after resolution, each friendly ship with Wrecking Crew keyword within 3 squares May destroy a wall or a square of blocking terrain adjacent to themselves. Okay, alright. Then we've got 4 clicks of charge followed by 3 clicks of flurry. 4 clicks of super strength followed by 3 blank clicks. 2 invincible, 2 impervious, 2 invulnerable, and 1 toughness. 4 of we're gonna wreck it, boys, and 3 of battle fury. Oof. I think that the token generation or the object generation that the old wrecker has just barely edges him out on the new one, but it is very close. I mean, all in all, I would say that the old pile driver and bulldozer are definitely better. They're also built with a different mindset when it came to dial construction. All 4 of them are designed in the concept of, hey, let's make, lower point versions of larger characters so that, so that, these bigger characters can be used on 300 point teams. It's kind of a push more towards stay at 300. Now, personally, as I mentioned before, I like large build totals. So, though to be perfectly honest, given the opportunity, I would happily run all 8 at once. That would be one hell of a swarm team. Anyway, that is it for me today. Got some other videos coming up. Coming close to my to the top 10 movies of the year. Probably at most in a week or so. I got one more movie to watch before I definitively sit down and say, okay, here's my list. Probably to make this a regular, as regular as I am when it comes to segments. Segment on the channel. If you like, leave some character suggestions in the comments that you'd like to see other videos like this on. This is probably going to be one of the probably the only time I focus on a team as opposed to just one character. And the reason being that, as I said, with the exception of the Wrecker, there are only 3 versions of each of these characters in Clicks, and Wrecker just has 4 instead of 3. So yeah, that's it for today. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off. Like I said, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon links are in the search box down below. Mr. Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.